We are joined by Karen Worthy, a career transition expert and founder of Worthy Career Paths. With a background spanning engineering, operations, and human resources, Karen now helps professionals navigate career changes and build paths they love. She brings a wealth of knowledge in areas like interview prep, salary negotiation, and personal branding to empower others on their journey to career success. Karen, thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
What's the one thing every candidate should do to prepare for an interview?
Yeah, so you want to think about your stories and what your big accomplishments are and think about them ahead of time. Think about how you're going to talk about them, what points you want to get across. Don't just go into the interview and try and wing it. A lot of people are like, oh, but I talk better. It sounds less polished if I just wing it when I'm in the interview. The reality is, it usually sounds rambly, and so you want to prepare it ahead of time.
Interesting. I would never have thought that. That is great. How can someone stand out from other applicants during an interview?
It's a great question. One of the things that we tend to think about is we go into an interview and we're trying to think of like, I'm here to sell myself. I'm here to talk about myself. And really, I want everybody that's doing interviews to put the hiring manager's hat on for a minute. Think about what they're looking for. Think about what is going to help them in their role in their organization, and then position your answers and talk about the things you can do to make the hiring manager's job easier. It's going to set you worlds apart.
What's a common mistake candidates make that can be easily avoided?
So you've heard the saying, the riches are in the niches, whatever. You've heard the saying. So this is true for job searches as well. Don't apply for anything and everything. Figure out what you are qualified for, what you want to go do, and tailor everything to that. It's going to make your search so much easier.
How do you recommend answering the classic, what's your biggest weakness question?
Oh, that's a good one. So definitely don't be like, well, my weakness is blah, 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 and then just stop there. Not a good answer, regardless of what your weakness is. Instead, what I want you to do is think about something that you have had as a weakness or an opportunity area that you used to have and you've worked on it. So it's gotten better in the last couple of years. So, for example, if I was to say my weakness or one of my weaknesses is public speaking, I could then talk about how I've been very intentional about taking classes on public speaking, how I've been very intentional about doing podcast interviews or whatever it is. It's not true that that's my weakness originally, but if that is your weakness, talk about what you've done to overcome it. The other thing with the weakness is make it less relevant to the actual job. So if I was doing a job or applying for a job where public speaking was at its core and very essential to the job, don't put that as your weakness. Pick something that's a little bit less relevant and make that your weakness.
That's smart. Yeah. I mean, you'd think people would think about that, right? But it's something that I think sometimes we go into these moments, you don't know what's coming towards you and you have to plan it, right? But ahead of time. But what's a powerful question candidates should ask the interviewer just to leave that strong impression?
Yeah, you want to ask a question that shows you've done your homework. So instead of just saying something like, what's the culture here? Or what's your favorite part about the job? Make it a two-part question. Say, when I was researching the company, I discovered this. How does that influence your strategy for this? And like make it something where you show that you've done your research when you're asking the question.
Karen, I really appreciate you spending your time with us today and sharing your knowledge.
I'm excited for it as well. This has been a blast. It really helps me in my mission to help more people. And so I'm really appreciative of you having me on the podcast.